we are having lots of participants here. Well, there is a much needed conversation in this session because we are still in the month of International Women's Day, as women have now dominated the world. So once again, to all our female veterinarians, happy International Women's Day. As today's topic is inclusively going to be the gender-sensitive challenges, constraints, and success of being a veterinarian. Thank you all for joining. I am Dr. Zainab Abdullahi Biu, the Community Engagement Officer for Farmalat. And I will be your facilitator for today alongside Dr. Gloria Daminabo. So permit me to share my screen so that I will take you along with me to the agenda. Okay. Before taking us to the agenda, I would like us to know TECLA partners and more. We partner with MDOC, VCN, okay, Moringa Ingham, Ashoka Limited, and then the ECO model. Okay. I'm still trying to share. Okay. So here is the agenda for today. There is going to be a brief about Farmalat by Dr. Janet for 5 minutes. Then goodwill message by Dr. Mrs. Mariam Mohammed for 2 minutes. And then there will be a pre-quiz session too. And then we'll have our hub expert, Dr. Mrs. Teresa Kadri Iwewe, for 45 minutes, talk about the gender-sensitive challenges, constraints, and successes of being a veterinarian. And then there will be an open discussion for all the participants, questions and answer, which will take like 40 minutes. And then the expert recommendation on the topic. And we'll be having our post quiz where we call it a day. So the ECO model has 4 ECO pillars usually. So using the video conference technology to leverage SaaS healthcare, the resources, specialists sharing best practice with colleagues, case-based learning, and continuous monitoring of program outcome. So I will now okay, so sorry. Okay. Project TECLA Africa leverages the ECO model. We collect, actually, we register, and then there's participation, questions and answers, chats, comments, and poll response for our program. Your individual data will be kept confidential and handled by authorized personnel. This data may be used for reports, maps, communication, surveys, quality assurance, evaluation, research, and to inform new initiatives. This session is being recorded. We'll be sharing a PDF version of this slide after this session. And the participation tips for today, please have your camera on. The facilitator will unmute you when you need to speak. And please use the raise hand feature in Zoom when you want to speak. Kindly use the chat function for any question, please. Okay, so I'll hand over to Dr. Janet Miyake to tell us brief about Farmalat. So Dr. Janet Miyake, over to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. As introduced, my name is Miyake.
Please, Dr. Janet Miyake, can you unmute?
We see that we get like Papa letter from UK also. Yeah?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. As introduced, my name is Dr. Janet Mayaki, and I serve as the Partnership and Growth Manager for Parmalat. Parmalat is an animal health social enterprise that was founded in 2019 with the primary mission of enabling easy access to affordable animal health care in underserved communities in Africa. Animal diseases are the leading cause of losses to livestock farmers and pet owners, accounting to over 70% of the total damages. Unfortunately, the animal health system in Africa leaves little to be desired and goes a long way to adversely affect farmers and pet owners, who are the lifeline of our local food system. As at Farmalad, we have been able to combine our relevance as a major animal health care brand in the marketplace with our mission of ensuring the easy availability, accessibility, and affordability of these animal health products and services across the country. We partner with local animal health professionals, mainly veterinarians, who partner with these local farmers and pet owners in building an inclusive system for sustainable animal health and disease prevention. We also foster a peer-to-peer network where access to regular animal health products, veterinary services, and pieces of training can be easily obtained and learning at various levels of farmers' interaction shared. In summary, we are enabling easy access to quality animal health across Nigeria.
So, Dr. Janet, your network is still poor. Dr. Janet Miyaki. Okay, I think the network is poor. So thank you for giving us, okay. So thank you for giving us a brief about Parmalat. So next on the agenda is the pre-quiz session. This pre-quiz session is just to test your knowledge actually on what this gender is all about. So please, as I read out the pre-quiz, I need you to please engage. Thank you. So I will be sharing the pre-quiz with you now. Please, the IT support, can you share the questions for the pre-quiz before we move into the next agenda? Thank you. I can see, Please try to share this so that we have a lot of participants. People should join in. Please, the IT support, I would like you to give us the pre-quiz. So as we are waiting for the pre-quiz, I would like to welcome each and every one of us here joining us from where you are. Let's see it. Okay, so I think the pre-quiz is here. Okay, please try to fill in the pre-quiz. Please, you can still share this so that other participants will be able to join in and answer this pre-quiz session. Is open, it's for 5 minutes. Okay. Now I can see a lot of people are engaging. Please continue. We still have some few minutes remaining. Please, let's engage in this pre-quiz to test our knowledge. Thank you. Few minutes to go. Please, let's engage. Let's keep engaging. Please check in for the pre-quiz. Dr. Chika, you're asking. Few more minutes to go. Let's keep engaging. Okay. 40 seconds to go. Let's keep in, please. Okay. 15 more seconds to go. 5 more seconds to go. it's time. So thank you everyone for joining us once again and for trying to test up your knowledge on this pre-quiz session. Okay, so now I'll hand over to Dr. Gloria Daminabo to continue with the introduction part as the goodwill message, introducing the person that will be taking on the goodwill message. So, Dr. Gloria Daminova, thank you.
Okay,
Dr. Gloria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab. And good morning again, everybody. It's a good day today, and we're happy to hear from our senior colleagues and people who we know are going to talk to us about things that we need to learn about or share their experiences that are going to help us today. So for our goodwill message, we have a very special person. She is the executive director of the National Veterinary Research Institute in VOM. She's definitely the first woman to occupy that position. Interestingly, she's also the first female veterinarian to be employed by the Institute. And she has grown through the ranks to become the executive director of the Institute today. She has served in several capacities. She has served the profession in several capacities, even in this association. She has served in the National Veterinary Medical Association as National Financial Secretary. And in their time, because I know I was the former publicity secretary and in charge of the editor of Vetline. So I'm happy to know that it was in their time that the Vetline came on board, and it has been on till today. So she's somebody that has contributed a lot to the profession. She has not been lily-livered, not because she has done tremendously well, not because, irrespective of being female or male. And today we would like to hear from her. So she's no other person than Dr. Maryam Mohammed. So it's our pleasure to hear from you, Ma. You have the stage, Ma. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're expecting a goodwill message from Dr. Maryam Mohammed, the Executive Director of the National Veterinary Research Institute. I'm just trying to check if she's on the call and if she can be unmuted to give her goodwill message. Okay, I think I've seen her there.
Hello, Gloria, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I think the host was on. Welcome, everyone. So let me start by saying good morning and welcome. Thank you very much for the invitation to this TECLA session. I will also like to congratulate both TECLA and NVMA for thinking about this topic, which is a very, very important and key topic. Not only because I am female, but yes, because I am female, I also know the issues around gender and professionalism. So maybe I'll say one or two things later, but my goodwill message is just to congratulate both the NVMA and TECLA for putting up this, and thank you very much for bringing forward a very, very important topic and discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma, for for that goodwill message. We look forward to hearing from you, more from you. Okay, so we have a goodwill message. We are going to take another goodwill message from a very important person right now too. She's the president of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. And again, she's the first woman to hold that office. She has been in male-dominated professions or career, being a police, being a veterinarian, and then now being the president of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. We have a lot to learn from her all the time as female veterinarians, and she has a lot of experiences to share too. So no other person than AIG Aishatu Abubakar Baju. So Ma, we are very happy to hear from you today. Kindly give us a goodwill message. Thank you very much, Ma.
Thank you very much, Gloria. And we are meeting again on almost the same topic. It's a great privilege for me to address you. I'm sure it's just a goodwill message for now before we speak, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. My big sister has already spoken, the ED NVRI. I am just joining, so I don't really know. Those people on. I'm trying to scroll through, but I want to acknowledge the presence of each and every person on this platform for fear of modeling of the protocol. This is, as she said, the topic is very apt. We will recall that the issue of inclusivity is one of the agendas of our president among his renewed hope agenda. Inclusivity is a very serious matter, and I think everybody is now focusing. I'm happy that the veterinary profession is also looking at issues that has to do with gender. Last week during the international, is it this week? Actually, it's this week, right?
Last week, Friday.
On the 8th of March, which was the International Women's Day, where we also had a similar interaction. So it is really, I'm really grateful. Being the first gender advisor in the Nigerian police also, I know gender is a very critical issue globally and also nationally. And I'm happy that the veterinary profession is also focusing on those issues that are affecting gender. So on behalf of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, I want to congratulate the organizers, Farm Alert, and all other persons that have been part of this, that are part of this very important meeting today. I want to congratulate you, and the council is also looking at issues that has to do with inclusivity. Thank you very much. I wish it was a very beautiful and fruitful deliberation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma, for that beautiful goodwill message. We're happy to have you and look forward to hearing more from you. Okay. So at this point, we are going to be hearing from someone on gender sensitive, on inclusivity, the gender sensitive challenges, constraints, and success of being a veterinarian. So following our agenda, we are going to be hearing from Dr. Mrs. Teresa Kadiri Iwewe. So I think we are going, I don't know if we're going to follow the agenda strictly or, okay, if we are going to follow the agenda strictly, then she is the next person to come on. So I will just do a brief, I will just read out a brief citation about who this person is, and then she will speak to us on the topic. Okay, so Dr. Teresa obtained her DVM from the University of Ibadan in the year 2004. She started her professional career at Meat Agric Farms in 2004 as a resident doctor. She left Meat Agric Farms in 2005 to focus on growing Dr. Tessie's veterinary hospital and production of pet products, which she started in 2004. While laying the foundation for her practice, she enrolled for her master's at the University of Ibadan and obtained her MVSc in small animal medicine in 2009. A rebranding in 2010 gave rise to Dr. Tessie's Veterinary Limited, with the hospital being a subsidiary. Dr. Tessie's Veterinary Hospital, under the leadership of Dr. Teresa, with over 20 years of clinical experience, specializes in small animal practice with 6 veterinarians in her employ, and has been instrumental in the training of numerous veterinary medical students and interns who avail themselves of the medical diagnostic equipment. Dr. Tessie's Veterinary Limited prides itself as the first indigenous pet product production company to roll out its indigenous ready-to-eat pet crunchy food, among other products. Dr. Teresa is currently the Chief Medical Director of Dr. Tessie's Veterinary Hospital and the Chief Executive Officer of Dr. Tessie's Veterinary Limited, makers of the Tessie's range of pet products, which include the following: Dr. Tessie's ectoparasitic dog soap, Dr. Tessie's ectoparasitic dog powder, Dr. Tessie's ectoparasitic dog puppy shampoo, Dr. Tessie's ectoparasitic adult dog shampoo, Dr. Tessie's dog wound healing cream, Dr. Tessie's puppy dog food delight, Dr. Tessie's adult dog food delight, Dr. Tessie's puppy crunchy, Dr. Tessie's adult crunchy. Dr. Teresa has a mentorship group comprising of over 20 veterinarians, from whom she impacts on their career growth and on veterinary entrepreneurship. She has been recognized for her impact as a trailblazer and her excellence in the veterinary profession through the awards of numerous awards, including Award of Excellence from the University of Ibadan Students Association on the 8th of November 2014, Award of Excellence from MVMA on 27th of April 2019, Award of Distinguished Alumnus from the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine on 10th March 2010, Award of Leadership and Innovation of the Year from the Nigerian Workforce Strategy and Enlightenment Center on 23rd June 2021. Award of Excellence, Laboratory Technician Students, More Plantation on 27th June 2023. Dr. Teresa is an indigene of Edo State. She was born and grew up in Ilorin, Kwara State. She is happily married to Engineer John Iwewe, and they are blessed with lovely kids. She loves pets and has a strong passion for small animal welfare and care. So thank you very much for that. At this point, we want to welcome Dr. Teresa, the CEO of Dr. Tessie Veterinary Hospital, to speak to us on the topic, inclusivity, the gender-sensitive challenges, constraints, and success of being a veterinarian. You're welcome, ma. Okay.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning,
Thank you, Dr. Gloria. Good morning, my president of the VCN. Good morning, the executive director of the NVRI. All protocols duly observed. And thank you to Farmalat for putting together this seminar. Yes, I'm happy to be here today to discuss our topic, the gender-sensitive challenges, the constraints and successes of being a veterinarian. Yes, when we talk about inclusivity, what are we talking about? Basically, we're talking about policies that we're to make to provide equal access to opportunity and resources in a profession like ours. discussing like the veterinarians, the female veterinarians, that we should be given equal accessibility and opportunities like our male counterparts. Next slide, please. Next, I'm discussing gender-based segregation. When we talk about gender-based segregation, what I'm trying to point out here is social inequalities that abound in workplaces generally, in which you see there's emphasis on, okay, examples like male and females in same workplace not being given equal jobs. And should they even be put in on the same pedestal, the same capacity? For example, a resident doctor, male, and a female resident doctor, female, comparing their job descriptions when you find disparities in them, like more opportunities being given to the male than the female, being perceived as being weaker than the male. These are the issues we are here to discuss today. Should it be this way? Is that how it's meant to be? Shouldn't we be given equal opportunities? How do we strategically position ourselves as female veterinarians to make sure we are able to deliver based on our profession as good as the males would do? Next is the statistics. When we talk about, okay, the veterinary profession, how many are we that are females? We found out that globally, there are about 60% female registered veterinarians. That will leave about 40% registered male veterinarians. So that means there are more female registered veterinarians. And if we look at our schools, the veterinary schools worldwide, we are finding there is about 80% of veterinary students being females. So if the women outnumber the male in the field globally, why are we still having these challenges? Why is what we're looking at next. So that brings us to my experience now as a female veterinarian. When I graduated from the vet school at University of Ibadan 20 years ago, I stepped out. My first love was initially farm care. I was really, really into farm practice. And I applied to a farm in Osun State. We had a 6-month gap pre-NYSC, and I never wanted to sit idle. I applied there after a series of tests and 2 interviews. I came out tops, and I was scheduled for another interview with the president of the organization. And when the moment he saw me, he was like, how could they say a female passed the most? How could they say, okay, you're the one? Can you even walk around this whole farm? I was taken aback. And I was like, sir, why can't I walk around? I'm a trained veterinarian. Say I've never seen a female vet, let alone employ one. It's not going to employ me. So I found myself at a junction in which I had to now not only defend my certificate, my qualification, but I had to now defend why I'm even in the profession at all. And I was in shock because I never knew there was this gender bias I was going to face. And then after much convincing, he wasn't listening to me. He was adamant. I had to say, okay, sir, I would like you to give me a month trial. And then I'm willing to sign an agreement to that effect, that if at the end of 1 month, my services is below your expectation of the standards set by previous veterinarians that are males, then I would like to be laid off without pay. When he had that, he was taken aback and was like, do you really mean it? If I draft it, I said, yes, I'll sign right now. And then he said, okay, when are you starting? That was how I got that opportunity. But I can tell you, what did I do? I availed myself of mentorship. We have the likes of Professor Moboale now, then he was a clinician at the VTH in UI, and the likes of Professor Oladele. I would always take cases back to them when I see cases, and then I took out time to really read up a lot of things. worked on myself. And I can assure you, at the end of the very first month, I got a pay rise. And that went on. I took that farm when I met it from about 67% production of the laying birds to about 95%. And they were in awe. They've never seen anything like that. That farm was such a fertile ground for me to experience and practice, so that we had almost all types of animals. We had laying birds, we had broilers, we had sheep and goats, we had cattle, we had fish ponds, we even had dogs for security. So that really exposed me a lot. And I made sure I availed of that opportunity. And each month I got an increase in pay. And by the time I was nearing the end of my initial 6 months, I wanted to work. They had to influence my NYSC posting to the farm. And on the day of the NYSC orientation camp, I was chauffeur driven then. And I was given even an express pass, such that during even the mandatory orientation, in which we're not meant to leave the camp, I was being let out because I needed to check on the well-being of my patients on the farm. So what am I saying? I had to prove myself. And of course, before my NYSC was over, I was also consulting for several farms. Well, you see, that being adamant of that precedent was not new to me anymore, because I saw other clients too. When I'm introduced to farms in that axis in Osun State, that I could be their consulting farm veterinarian, they were always like, why a woman? Can, as a woman, ever, so that I had to prove to them. Well, by the end of those periods of my sojourn there, I gave up. I was like, wow, if I'm never going to be really fully accepted as a farm veterinarian, why don't I look into small animal practice, which is what now gave rise to the small animal specialty I'm into now, and companion animals. So going forward from that, I want to discuss, okay, we're having choices of target species. You are seeing there's this demographic shift of female veterinarians being skewed towards small animal practice generally. When you look at it, you see, okay, there's gender imbalance generally in small animal practice. You see that, okay, more female veterinarians want to go into that. But if you look closely even at that, you see that even when there are like management positions, even in the companion animal areas, and even ownership of practices, you see that it's still dominated by males. And from my own experience, what I've seen in the years of my practice is females give up on themselves easily. Yes, I gave up on my dream of becoming and majoring in farm animal, but I picked up another passion, and I'm like, wow, if I can't do this well, let me go into small animal. But what I'm saying is, some of us give up entirely, give up on the profession entirely, or settle for just minimal roles. The essence of this kind of organization, of this kind of presentation, is to make us to realize and to impact on us, dare to dream, have a clear picture of what you want to do, focus and forge ahead. I've seen that a lot of young veterinarians, they come in with a lot of zeal into the profession, but by the time the family challenges come in, they get married, the kids start coming, we'll see a lot of female veterinarians giving up, being overwhelmed. What am I saying today? I'm saying to us as veterinarians, female veterinarians, put in that extra effort. Put in the extra effort. Get help where you need. Get mentors. Get people. Talk to people. How did you do it? How were you able to do it? And within those 20 years, I was able to move my practice from a small 2-3 bedroom place to, I can't even describe how big our place is now. And we have different facilities for different purposes. And I've seen a lot of even the big shots in this profession come around, and they're like, wow, we never thought this is even possible, especially not even in Ibadan. How did you do this? You see, So we have a lot to impact back into younger female veterinarians. And my doors are always open. I want us to come around, come for a tour of the facility, ask me questions, interact with me. How were we able to do this? And talking about this moves us to the question of elusive equality. We are taught in school that, oh, there's no male or female veterinarian, that we are all veterinarians. But us getting into the field, we find out that the majority, even though are women on the field, equality is still elusive, very much so. So what we're saying is, we cannot do this alone. We are trying to crave the indulgence of the men, the male veterinarians, to encourage in whatever capacity they are holding, whatever organization they are holding, we should encourage our women. If a female vet is in an organization and then now she's married, we should create flexible working schedule to encourage them not to stifle their dream very early on in their career projection. Also, we should advocate for equal pay. We have found that within the same organization, we'll see that, okay, there's this wide gap, a lot of gap in payment of remunerations. In our organization, if you are male or female, we are not gender biased. Your entry pay, be you female or male, resident doctors, we offer equal pay. So, and then we are encouraging us as corporate organizations to incorporate transparent salary structures and schemes in our organizations. This will help in bolstering the female veterinarians and building their confidence in the profession. In conclusion, even though I gave up my initial dream, but I still am an advocate for discussion and addressing the issues of gender disparities. And I do still hold there in my heart that initial dream I had for farming and farm-based practice. And as such, I've even acquired about 6 acres of land to start the Dr. Tess's farm, which is going to come up later this year. And finally, I have a few recommendations. Yeah, going to recommendation slide now. I have about 6 of them. I'm recommending that, number one, in our workplaces, we should, as much as possible, try to create a shift in our workplace dynamics such that we make conscious, decisive efforts to create equality between the males and the females. Secondly, we need to create a lot of flexibility for the schedules of the females to make sure that they're able to meet up with their domestic and family-based, what word will I use there now? Needs. Thirdly, in joining us as the entire veterinary profession, that we should be decisive and be like putting forth a collective effort as the entire profession to make sure we bridge the gap. Also, we women in leadership positions should make concise effort to bridge the gap and ensure that those of us that are already in farm animal care and other areas mentor and bring up other female veterinarians and help build their confidence in themselves. I'm also calling for change, not just for the women, but like I mentioned earlier, an inclusive and concerted effort of the entire veterinary community in bridging this said gap. I've said flexible working schedule for women to balance their family and work responsibilities. Also, I've said the industry as a whole should ensure that there's no disparity in pay. And all this being said, I want to enjoin us as female veterinarians to ensure that we work on ourselves and really put in the extra effort that is required to bridge the gap between the family needs and the workplace need. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Gloria, are you there? Hello, Dr. Gloria. Dr. Gloria?
Let me come in here, even though this is a program that is supposed to be all female veterinarians coordinated. Dr. Gloria just sent something to me. It's finding it difficult to connect because the program is internet. Thank you very much, Dr. Tessie, for a very...
Dr. Vanessa, I don't know if it's only me. I'm not hearing you well. You say you're sounding very bad.
Okay, I'm sorry, my president. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, yes. Better.
You know, this is the program for all of you. So somebody somewhere must be trying to be all-inclusive and trying to ward off my voice, perhaps. Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you. As you say, to inclusivity, but that you are not really audible.
Gloria just sent a note to me that she has a problem with her internet connection, but she will be joining very soon. Meanwhile, I was just trying to make a comment that some of us have to be permanently he or she. We must back you up. Wherever there are issues of gender, we have to play some good role. And that Dr. Tessie presented a very brilliant, beautiful treatise there. And I think we have to find a way to share all of these apart from the recording we have here. Well done, Dr. Tessie. We have
thank you, sir.
We have two other hub experts on the call. Dr. Motayo Aniaboso, I'm sure she could step in pending when Gloria will be able to take her turn. Dr. Motayo, are you on? Okay. Dr. Motayo, are you on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Very clear. Please take your turn while Gloria.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm standing on all existing protocols, and I'm happy to be here today. It's a privilege. It's a big, big privilege for me to share my experiences and to probably procure some advice or recommendations on how to, make the profession and a gender equality based profession. I would like to start with my experience. I graduated from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in 1992. And thereafter, we had a 6-month stay at home because of delays in posting to NYSC. And I hit the ground running. I started looking for a job immediately. I didn't want to stay at home for any minute. I got some job with a security company. In those days, there were not many vets. There were not many vet opportunities, as in job employments. We only had maybe the multinationals like May and Baker.
Maybe before you come on.
What's the other one? Can't remember now, but the multinationals were the ones we were targeting, and banks. I got this job with a security company, and I worked for 6 months there before I moved on for my youth service in the far north, Jigawa to be precise. And from there, after my service, which was a very, very, very active one, I was posted to an ADP, but I wasn't just there. You know, I got engaged with the emirs, horses. I was all over the bushes. So sometimes when I hear, you know, gender inequality, I wonder sometimes, so from my own perspective, the women must bring themselves out for the job. There's nothing like the weaker vessel. For me, I did not act that part. I was fully out. I go with the palace guards to the bushes inside. I've never seen the kind of cows I saw in those bushes. And I was able to tackle them with the help of course, the herders. So we will, from this, my experience, need to encourage women to come out and build themselves. Don't relegate yourself to the background and say because you're a woman, you have to, you know, play some minor role in your profession. And you know that our training as vets really taught us to be tough. I still remember how we were running from one department to the other, pacing the same pace the men were, our young colleagues, the male colleagues were pacing, running when they are running and all that. And in class, we were not also laid back. Some of us were distinction students. In fact, a lady was the best student in my time. And I hear some other people, some other sets had women as their best graduating student. So if you're good like that in the class, I don't see why you cannot come out and also measure up like our male counterparts. Yes, agreed. We have a lot of places where they segregate and push us to the sides. I remember when I came back from youth service, I applied to Pfizer, I think, and I kept passing all the interviews until we got to the final, you know, interview where they needed to do the one-on-one. And the people at the panel said, so how would you cope with traveling the Western region? Because they were looking for a rep that would cover the Southwest. And I said, I will cope. They said, when will you get married? What kind of question is this? I don't know. I'm hoping that God will give me my own partner in his own time. How can I be answering that kind of question? So these were the questions they asked that made them to sideline me, because I wasn't able to tell them when I'll get married. They needed you to work for some years before you now start getting married and getting pregnant and going on maternity leave with pay. They didn't want that. You needed to have put in some time before you can go on that leave. So in that area alone, I think that was where I saw the bias. But in practice, I've not seen that kind of bias because I put in all my best by God's help and grace. The way the male counterparts are going about it, I also insisted that I will do same. Yes, balancing it with family life can be a bit challenging if you don't plan yourself well. And the choice of a partner also is very important. Some of us just rush into marriage just so that you answer Mrs. You need to pray about it and get a husband that will be supportive, not leave everything to you at home and then you're also putting in all your time also at your workplace, contributing to the family's finances. So I see that in that area, if you get a very cooperative partner, that area will not be a challenge. So balancing it is just by applying wisdom, knowing where to set your bounds, the limits and all that. In practice, generally, I've seen myself compete for the same markets with the male counterparts, and I come out successful in those areas. And I don't think there's much to really say has been my challenge in the veterinary practice as a whole. Maybe in other professions, there could be gender inequality, but I'm looking at it from my small animal practice. I don't think there's any room for gender. Why will there be gender bias? The clients come to you based on what you have to offer, not based on whether you are a female. Yeah, some of them will come and say, oh, I've never seen a female vet. I've heard that over the years, but then you prove your worth and they stick to you. Some of them just out of ignorance that they don't even know that, some don't even know there's anything like veterinary medicine in the first place. They'll say, I thought it's only abroad that they practice this kind of thing. And not to talk of, a woman, I've never seen a female vet. And you prove to them what you're worth. And they believe, you become a believer in you. So in the small animal practice where I am involved fully, I don't have that challenge of gender bias. But then again, I've looked at the area of employment for the females. In my practice, the first doctors I hired were females. In fact, there was a time my clinic was tagged female vets, because everybody was a female. My kennel attendants were females, my doctors were females, my sales girl were females, and I enjoyed working with them. The comradeship there was there. But I now noticed that another set of females I got were lazy. Just sit back and want all the goodies, but don't want to put in their best. And they come up with excuses. My son is in the hospital. My daughter is in this thing. Oh, my principals, my daughter's principal just called me now. And they'll leave work and rush there and stuff like that. So you see that sometimes all those excuses are what probably make some employers hesitate to take female vets. So in that area, I will advise the women, the female vets, young upcoming female vets, to not, brandish it in the face of your employer that you also have some other responsibility elsewhere other than here. Yes, we all know we are women and we are multitasking. We are very good at multitasking, unlike our male counterparts. A woman can do several things successfully at the same time, unlike some men cannot handle one thing, 2 or 3 things at a time. So you can give that to the women folk. So we should be able to harness our God-given, gifts of being multitasking, so that we will, merge into this profession. We will really align ourselves and get the best out of it. Many opportunities all over the world, women are inclusive. Like Dr. Tessie was saying, that you have up to 60-something% of women, of registered female vets. Even abroad, I've been opportune to see practice in the UK, where I worked. Females were more than the males there. And everything was done without bias. So, and I know in other countries that have not been opportunity to be at, I'm sure that this is the same that goes there. So if in Africa here, we have gender bias, we, the ones in practice, should try to bridge that gap, encourage the female vets, do mentorship. Some of them don't want to be mentored, not just the females, even the males. Some of them come to you, they just spend 1 or 2 months and they are running off to go and open their own without knowing the ropes. It's one thing to know the theory, but what about the practicals? What about the years of experience that your mentor can, impart in you? There are several practices that are not, you go to, even the teaching hospitals in the universities don't teach those things. The way to handle a needle, the way to swab a site for injection, and several other things. We are not really taking through those stuff. You learn them along the line, you learn them by sometimes hard experience, and you want to impart this to the young ones, but they are not willing, they are not ready. They are so much in a hurry. So that also is affecting the females in the field. And with what I've said, and with God on your side, everything we do, we can't do it and take all the credit to. God is the master planner, the master helper of every one of us. So, and I will not want to end this my little talk without giving him all the credit and all the honor for my over 30 years of practice in the veterinary profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma, for that wonderful advice. It's amazing and it's good to see that we also have people that have gone ahead and have spent so much time practicing veterinary medicine as females. But for now, I'm Dr. Janet Mayaki, and I'm going to be introducing Dr. Mrs. Zainab Abdul Malik. Dr. Ma, if you're online, the floor is yours. Okay, before she comes up, please, you can drop your questions. If you have questions, you want clarification, you can drop it on our comment section and we'll attend to it immediately. Dr. Zainab, Ma, the floor is yours. Okay. It seems that Zainab is not online yet. Okay, let's call on one of our guest speaker, Dr. Mrs. Maria Mohammed. Ma, if you're online, please put more weight on what our mommy have said about practicing veterinary medicine, about women in veterinary practice.
Okay, thank you very much. It's good to hear from very many from ladies who have been in the practice. I graduated exactly 40 years ago this month. Oh. And I spent my entire veterinary career at the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM. At the time I joined MVRI in 1984, I was the only female vet. And so I'm so thrilled to hear that you have 60, 70% of female graduates from our veterinary schools. Last month, I think University of Abuja also performed the same feat of having, I think, more than 60 female graduates. And just listening to the two speakers, it's, like I said, it's interesting we have come a long way. From being just one female veterinarian in VOM, we have more and more people, and we make deliberate efforts. What I would like to concentrate on is to talk a little bit about those of us who have weathered the storms and have come this far, and to look at what we need to do for younger colleagues. Particularly, I think I would be speaking on the side of government and getting jobs in government institutions, even though I know it's becoming more and more difficult. But I know that government cannot do without recruiting newer and newer graduates into the public service. The first thing I would like to talk about is when you say there are no constraints. I think you have been lucky that you did not face any constraints. For me, when I started, each time we went out for post-vaccination seromonitoring, I always had people who would either resist or would come, almost the whole village will come around to see if I am able to restrain a cow, correctly take samples and process the samples. The laboratory side was not as difficult as the field side. It was on the field that you always had people who would see you and wonder if you really went to veterinary school. I actually was amongst those who graduated quite early. So you still see some of the usual issues around women having to prove themselves. I think it still happens. And it probably isn't just from the veterinary profession. If you listen to lawyers or even physicians, you still hear about the fact that women have to prove themselves, particularly in male-dominated professions, because first, when you present yourself, the first thing that people want to be sure of is that if you know your onions, if you know what you're doing. For the men, they are lucky. Automatically, if you are a male veterinarian, you do not always have to prove yourself. But for females, we start from the position of doubt. People doubt you first until you prove that you know what it is that you are talking about. So for me personally, I deliberately wanted to be here just to encourage us, the ones that are older in the profession, to continue to hold the hands of the younger veterinarians and to provide support and be a mentor. You can be a mentor, not necessarily in your same place of work, but being a mentor and letting the younger ones know that it is doable. Our culture has placed us in a weaker position, but we can actually use that as a position of strength. And so I would
Okay. It looks like our mommy is having a network issue. Okay. Hello, Ma, are you still on? Hello, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for making the time to speak to us, young veterinarian, female veterinarians. It's also very encouraging to know that There are people that have gone before us and they have conquered. And so we have assurance that we are also going to make it in the profession. Okay, okay, I will call on our next guest speaker, AI Jima. I don't know if you are online.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, my president.
Ah, okay. It's like the anchor is also muted, frozen. Okay, Dr. Ganesha, can you still hear me? Because I'm hearing, okay. I think Auntie Mariam is back.
Very clearly.
Yeah, Auntie Mariam is back. Dr. Ganesha, I think the ED is back. Everybody is muted too.
Okay, okay, ma. Dr. Mariam, ma, you can continue, ma. We lost you for a minute. Ma, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, ma. We can hear you.
Okay, I apologize. I think my connection was cut off. Can I continue? Or was Aisha on? Is she already? Okay, okay,
Yes,
thank you.
continue, ma.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think I was speaking about inclusivity and for us, the older veterinarians, to be deliberate about including younger female colleagues and supporting them and growing their careers. And my plea is not just for us, only us, the female veterinarians, but also the male veterinarians that are in a position of authority. And the reason for saying that is that it's because, you know, generally in our society, women are not forceful. We do not push ourselves to come forward. So there is a need for us to nurture female veterinarians because we are 50% of the resource that is required for disease animal health control in Nigeria. And so it is
Okay. Ma, you can continue. We're still with you. Ma, can you hear me? Okay. 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 We will take Madam AIG first, so that after the network is bad, we will take her back. Dr. Aisha, ma, are you with us? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay, ma, the floor is open for you. We want to hear from you. Seeing the fact.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. The two speakers actually talked about most of the issues because, of course, we're talking about gender sensitivity, the challenges, the constraints and successes of being a veterinarian. They have really touched on most of the things that we've talked about, from looking at gender stereotypes, from looking at work-life balance, physical demands, where Dr. Tracy was talking about how most of them don't believe that as a female, she cannot handle a large animal, and that one now pushed her to become a small animal veterinarian at some point, and where we have also issues of bias in workplace that have been touched by both our speakers, and also societal expectation and a lot of other things that they have spoken about. First and foremost, each time we talk about gender equality, gender sensitivity, gender responsiveness, and so on and so forth, there are basic things that we really need to look at. Because when I saw the advert, I looked at issues. We are talking about gender equality or equity. Because we really want to know, are we talking about equality or equity? These are two different things. Because when you say you want equality, is it that when you give men 10 positions, if they are representing 10 men, you want to give 10 women? Is that what we are asking for? No, we are asking for equity, whereby we are able to have equal opportunities given to both men and women, but both genders. Because we also need to understand the issue, gender and sex. Gender is just attributes that whether culture has given to identify you, this work is meant for a woman, this work is meant for a man. Then, so those are gender attributes. When we talk about the sex of persons, is either male from the biological part of concept of it. Now, coming back to equality and equity, I keep telling, because even the police, when we talk about gender equality and gender, and like, oh, Aisha, you now saying that if we employ 10 men, we should employ 10 women. Or if we promote 10 men, we must promote 10 women. We said, no, we're talking about, if we do this, we must do it equally. No, it's not about 1 equals to 1 or 1 to 1. No, but equity. Equity, when we talk about equity, we're talking about, okay, now for a woman, because of all the challenges we have, from looking at the work balance, being a woman, being a mother is a full-time job of its own. It's so demanding as a woman to be a mother. Being a wife is another ballgame. Then being a veterinarian. You see, when you look at this, so there are a lot of other responsibilities. So, okay, what are those things? Because being a woman, there are certain considerations, like my other sister was talking about. There are certain considerations that we expect should be given to a woman to look at that work balance. Like when you look at childbearing and so on, that's now I'm looking at even from the government, even as a private practitioner. My other sister was talking about, oh, they're thinking about well, as a woman, you are going to ask, of course, yes, we are going to ask for maternity leave. Yes, we are also going to have time to take care of the children. And so, yes, because I want both our men and our women, especially our men, our employers, to understand that childbearing, having babies, is a national service. It is a national, so if we consider childbearing as a national service, I think we are going to have a different concept altogether. Now, if all the women, all of us are struggling, we all want to be at work at the same time, we don't want to have children, we want to work equality, all of us are there on the field. Now, who are going to produce the next generation of veterinarians? Or who are going to produce the next generation of Nigerians? Is childbearing now, has it not become a national service? Because we have to recreate. We have to produce next generation of Nigerians for them to become veterinarians, for them to become police officers, for them to become any other thing. If all the women now say, okay, we are all chasing the same thing and we are not going to take maternity leave, we are not going to have babies, we will all go to work together and we will just zip up our wombs and nothing happens. What will happen? Nigeria, of course, not just Nigeria, the entire world will go away because the women cannot have babies. So these are the kind of issues that we need to think about, that being a woman is a lot, encompasses a lot of things. So, and that consideration must be given. And what are we talking about when we talk about equity now and equality? So we're not talking about equality. I keep telling them, no, we're not talking about equality, we're talking about equity. For a woman, for instance, if a man, okay, let's say two tall men, for instance, or yes, two tall men, a tall man, I mean, if somebody is a 6-footer and a short man or a short woman, whatever, if they are two, even if amongst women themselves, who are men and women, if you have a tall man of 6-footer and then you have a man of 5 feet or thereabout, and then there's a mango to pluck on a tree, you all come there, everybody is standing on the same level. The 6-footer, all he needs to do is just to raise his hand up and just pluck his orange or he pluck his mango. And he doesn't need to put much effort because he is placed at that position to be able to pluck comfortably that mango. For that 4-footer or 5-footer, all he needs is a small table, another table to put up and make up the difference for him to climb up. They now become on the same level. The two of them, they can equally access that mango. But what happens in a situation whereby we now say we're asking for equality, and you bring the same table, a 3-foot table or something like that, to say both of them to climb, that 6-footer does not really leave your table. He is standing there, you now go beyond what he can plug. So it is not equality we're talking about, it is equity, whereby everybody is given equal opportunity in terms of our differences, biological differences, physiological differences. If a woman needs to, like if you are doing a promotion, for instance, and the woman is doing that national service of producing the next generation of veterinarians, yeah. If the woman is now busy producing the next generation of Nigerians, and then there is opportunity for them to go for promotion examination, and say, oh, this woman is always taking maternity leave. Then the men, all of them, because they don't get pregnant, and then they sit for the exam and they pass, and the next time you see that the women are always, and we have to be intentional about that, because I even said in the police, we all come out as cadets. When you come out as cadets, you have female cadets and male cadets. And as you are growing, you now start looking for the women. They just virtually vanish, and then you come to the management level, everybody there is a man. What has happened? These are some of the issues, because those considerations are not given to both men and women. And then looking at our own peculiar differences, Now we talk even when we're talking about in pharmacy, when individual idiosyncrasies in terms of responding to drugs and so on and so forth. And that is what is happening even in the veterinary profession. Now, as president of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, I've gone to so many graduation, faculties of veterinary medicine. I go for induction. I can tell you, if we bring the statistic, I will go to a graduation to one university and you see the best graduation student, overall best is a girl. Best in this girl. But I had a situation in UI where one girl collected 11 prizes. 11. And then most of the time you count the best this, the best in this, the best in this, you see out of maybe 10 students, 8. I can tell you I've seen situations like that. They are girls. Okay, and this thing has not started now. It has been there long time ago. You see a lot of our women, they excel. They are in school, they go to school, even in the police. It's the same thing in the academy. In everything you see, the girls are actually leading in so many things. Okay, now come to being chief executives and see, does it really translate what we're seeing in academics? Where are all the best brains that have been there in the forefront, leading classes, leading this? Where are they? Why are they left behind? Is it that the private practices, the government agencies, is it that deliberately they do not want the best graduating students, the best in this, the best, they don't want them to be chief executives? Or what has happened? It means there is something. And I think we really need to sit down and intentionally look at it and see how we have to track all those our younger ones that are coming up. We know that they are brilliant at that also. What has actually happened? There are all these issues, stereotypes, or issues that has to do that considerations are not given to our difference in our biology. And as I said, we need to encourage us to have babies so that we have a new generation of veterinarians. So this and then we need to mentor, keep mentoring and keep talking and working towards policies. Like I said, now we are working on the Nigeria Police Gender Policy. I don't know if you can see this document. This is Nigeria Police Gender Policy. So we also need to work towards having a gender, because there's a national gender policy in Nigeria. And all agencies, professionals, and whatever needs to also adopt and come up with their own gender policy and say, how does it work? What happens at this level? What is so that nobody is left behind. And then my other sister, our second speaker now, the female. Yes. Each time you need to prove yourself. Each time I'm a woman. A woman always, I can tell you, you need to, I've been there. I shared my experience with you during the International Women's Day. You need to work like 3 times, but I tell you, it is good to develop yourself, intentionally develop yourself to improve yourself and create a niche for yourself, so that, let me tell you, I keep telling them, okay, if you even choose to sweep, let's say that's what you want to do, not just small animal. Like Tessie, Dr. Tessie has done wonderfully well in our own area. Tessie crunchy feed, Tessie this, she has created a niche for herself. She has positioned herself. No matter whether she's a woman, you are not now, a lot of them will even look at her like a woman, because they know that she has developed herself and projected them. So I used to tell even my women police that if you choose to become a sweeper, a cleaner, make sure that you let it sparkle. Make that difference, because it is truly there. I know it's a lot of pressure on us, but that is just the way it is. But we need to, because a lot of them, just like the second speaker said, they say, oh, you now say you have, because I talk, you now say, oh, you have menstrual pain, or you have a baby. Yeah. Even the federal service scheme of service has given us opportunity to go on maternity leave. Now, even the men have been given opportunity to go on paternity leave so that they can support us when we have these babies. So you can take 2 weeks and come and give us that support. So what it means is that childbearing is a serious business. So, but as women, there are women also amongst us that make a lot of excuses, like our second speaker said. We have them in police, we have them in the veterinary profession. Oh, I have menstrual, I cannot go. And you keep making excuses as if a menstruation, your normal biology is a disability. So, but just showing that it is a natural phenomenon. It's a natural phenomenon for us to have that during this time, but it is not an excuse. When I finish, I'll come back. Don't make too much excuses, but we should try. And then for all the senior ones, as Auntie Mariam has said, we also have to intentionally try to see and mentor these young veterinarians that are coming up behind us. Let us lift them up. Let us, and I was watching Michelle Obama yesterday while she was talking about when you are moving up. Yeah, and there are some people that really cannot move up with you. You move up, you find yourself in position. But the most important thing here is that, okay, when you move there and reach, try to see how you can put a hand down, lift up those ones that are, and try to mentor and position them and give them the real opportunities. Our men, like Dr. Gani said, we need a lot of this he for she. Let them understand that, and then first of this he for she is a United Nations reward for women that are supporting gender equity, gender balance in the workplace. Women need to be on the decision-making position. We need gender champions. So for us as female veterinarians, let us identify those he for she's amongst us, because I know there are a lot of some of our veterinary colleagues that are actually gender sensitive, that are actually our he for she, and we can choose them selectively, identify them, and crown them as gender champions. Those are the ones that will be able to talk and support us in our drive for having a gender balanced workplace for female veterinarians. So I still want to, the other day I told you, and Casey was saying you have to dream, you have to aim high. And I told you last week that you have to dream high. As females, we have to dream high. The size of your dream must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. We have to dream high. Do not allow anybody to bring you down. So if your dreams does not scare you, I'm telling you, you are not big enough. We have challenges, but improving yourself and excelling and not giving excuses. There are certain things you demand by right. It is my right, God-given right, to have been. Already God has created me a woman, and by that virtue of a woman, I'm a nurturer. I am given the responsibility of producing the next generation of men and women in the world, and that is a God-given position, and nobody can take that away from me. So you cannot victimize me because I'm going on maternity leave. If another woman has not sacrificed and has not gone through that, you will not have been born. So these are genuine excuses. If you have to go, they are not even excuses. These are your rights. These are our rights. And it should not be taken as a punishment that you are going to lose promotion simply because you have gone on maternity leave. We should be seen to be organizing promotions for those people that have missed it because of that national assignment, national duty of producing the next generation of Nigerians. We have gone to do that national service. When you come back, you should have the opportunity to be able to move, to have that exam seated and pass and move with your male counterpart, so that we don't wake up tomorrow and that is what is happening either in the security agencies, either in all sectors of agencies. You see that the top executive, when you go and see the top executive, everybody is a man. And you know that during their training, when you see they were women, what had happened to the women? And they were topping the classes and they were leading the classes, and suddenly they just disappear. What is making them to disappear? We need to sit down and address ourselves and intentionally come down and see how do we address and make sure that those women that have what it takes to occupy those chief executive positions are not left behind simply because of their God-given privilege of being the mothers of the next generation of Nigerians. With this, I want to say big thank you, congratulations to the organizers of this event, Farm Allah. They're doing great. I can see we are identifying our gender champions in Farm Alert, Dr. Gani, Dr. Temi, and all those that have identified with our women that are going to be our he for she, that are going to be our champions, and all, even the Dr. Mrs. Mohammed that are in government places, because not just about the private practice, also in government agencies, we need to identify ourselves and see how we will intentionally bridge that gap and bring equity in the in veterinary practice. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you once again.
Thank you very much, Ma. That was very inspiring. Before you go, Ma, I don't know if there's something you want to tell the young veterinarians that are going through this gender bias wherever they work. Maybe if you have one or two things that have kept you all throughout all the years that have made you come up on top. Maybe if you have something you can tell us to hold on to in the face of gender bias.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. You see, there are some people that are just like that. When they see a woman, they feel aback that woman cannot be. Do not allow such a person, such person to keep you. That they say that there's this saying that I also want to quote that said, keep away from people who try to belittle your ambition. Keep away from them. Anybody that wants to belittle your ambition, keep away from him or her. Even our women, some of our women have this tendency. So do not allow anybody to tell you you cannot be there. Look at what Dr. Tracy has done. It's amazing. On her own, she has stood, despite the fact that people believe that believe that, oh, a woman cannot be this. She was able to create, and I said, create a niche for yourself and don't make excuses. That is the major thing. Develop yourself. Keep developing yourself and do not give any person excuse to say, oh, it's because you don't have this training or that. If you know where you are going, develop yourself in that, improve yourself. And I say, if you choose to clean, if you choose to sweep, let it sparkle. So that no matter what, even if it's a mental person, when they say, oh, they are looking for somebody to sweep, they say, you know, Aisha, she knows how to sweep. In fact, she can sweep and it will be glittering. So they will always look for Aisha to come and sweep for them. Tomorrow, they say, okay, after sweeping, can you put a little flowers? You come, and by the time they come to that hall, you have put so much flowers that when they come, wow, oh, Aisha can also put flowers. They know that even if they give somebody cannot put, I've improved myself. And the next day they say, okay, can you put a little decoration? Can you also organize it? And you can see that you have improved. So you don't give excuse. Wherever you find yourself, like these are sisters that have shared their experiences, excel in whatever you are doing. Do not give them the opportunity and do not allow anybody to belittle you because of your biological differences. And I've said, tell them from today, let us tell them that giving birth is a national service. And we must be appreciated for that, and we should not be victimized for that. When do you want to get married? The second sister says, once you get, yes, when God brings that man, just like when you two, you are going to get married and you have a lot of other responsibilities, being a father, being a husband. So nobody should make you feel inferior simply because they say, oh, you will be married and you'll be tired. Of course, yes, you see not married to a woman. So that marriage does not remove veterinary science from your head. You are a vet, but know your onions. So, and I keep, each time I speak with young veterinarians, I always tell them, there is no shortcut in life. It is when you try to get shortcuts, you want to be too fast, you want to be on the fast lane, then I tell you it will be very glaring. And then you will be shouting, oh, I am being victimized because I am a woman. No, even if you are a man or a woman, if you do not have your onions, now it gives them more opportunity to say, even if you give them at the end of the day, this woman, they will not be able to do it. But there is no way you will call, there are women, you call Dr. Mrs. Mohammed's name now, and then everybody knows she can do it. In fact, when she talks about what happens in NVRI, even when you wake her up from sleep, she can just go through it and tell you what happens. Every department and so on and so on. That's what it should be. But don't hide behind that God-given privilege of being the mother of the next generation of Nigerians or next veterinarian. You say, oh, I am this, I have headache, I have menstrual pain, and make so much excuses. No, distinguish yourself. Every step in life is meant for you to learn something. Aisha is not an assistant inspector general of police just overnight. For those that started with us in 1994 when I came here as a youth corper, they all know where we started. we are riding our Okada. You ride by again away from area 1 to the command headquarters. We do each time, one step at a time. I did not start from here, right? And at that time, was I the VCM president? Even at that time, I said I want to become VCM president, everybody will laugh at me because I wasn't prepared for that. So you need to be prepared for each step, and that is why every step is for you to learn to prepare you for the next step. So our young female vets should understand that, yes, mentorship does not mean that because Dr. Mrs. Mohammed or Dr. Tesi is mentoring you, it means that we mentor you is that remember next year you are going to be like Dr. Mrs. Mohammed. It is not true. But she is telling you to tell you all the hurdles she has passed through, so that because you also most likely go through those hurdles, for you to understand that when she came to that hurdle, these were the skills and the tactics that she used to jump over that and succeed, and she was able to reach where she is. So it's just for you to prepare for all those hurdles that are ahead of you in the story of your life or in the journey of your life to be at that top chief executive position. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very, very much. So to my fellow young female veterinarians, now we are hearing that it's not only giving us equality and equity in the workplace, you also have to develop ourselves, get ready, ensure we know our honors and everything so that we'll be the best in everything. Okay, Doctor, I will hand over Dr. Tessima. Okay, in 2 minutes, if you can tell us what you held on to so far, because you're also one star in the veterinary profession, and it will be an honor for us to know what you're holding on to, what is making you hold on to this niche that you're found. Just tell us your one secret that you want every young female veterinarian to have.
Thank you. Oh, well, thank you, my president, the president of the VCN. That speech she gave us was so insightful. But like you asked, yes, ma'am, what has kept me going has been, yes, God first. God Almighty has given me, I would say, extraordinary strength, but I've always talked about hard work. I don't get tired. I don't get overwhelmed by things. Challenges inspire me. When I hit the rock, when I get to face challenges, that's when I pick up the baton and run. For instance, right now I'm running an MBA program, and I also have put in for my PhD. At the same time, I now put in this week for my fellowship program. And my doctor, one of the doctors with me was like, am I going to run it concurrently? I said I usually would like to do more than one thing at a time. So why am I saying this? Hard work. If we are giving all the equity we are asking for, and even more than we deserve, we have to be willing to rise up and work for it. We have to earn it as well. That I am now a mother. I'm also a mother. I have a daughter in the university, and I also have my last kids. They are twins. They are just in, I think, primary 4. They are 8 years old. So I have like kids in like 2 decades, you see. So, and I'm caring for them. And then I'm running a full career. It's about hard work. And like I said earlier, dare to dream. Have a dream. Have a dream. Have something you are working towards. Have it clearly. I always add a dream of where I want to be, what I want to be, what I want to achieve, what it's going to look like. And then I work towards it. It usually makes, I think, the journey much easier. So that's what I want to say to our younger ones. And the role of mentorship cannot be played low. You see, when I got to Matter Grade, I was put directly as like the most senior official on the farm, straight from university. In fact, when I was going for those series of interviews and tests with them, I was writing my final year exams. Always dedication, hard work. I wouldn't say, okay, in between, like the day I went for that final chat with him, I had one of my orals the next day, and I was reading even in the taxi going there. So what are we saying? Hard work. And then the role of mentorship can never be underplayed. When I got to the farm, I would bring samples. If I have mortality in my laying birds, I would carry out a post-mortem. I would write down what my findings are. I'll come to UI. I'll come and seek intervention and input from my teachers, my lecturers that taught me. I would not be lazy. All the way from Osun State, I'll bring samples and birds for post-mortem to UI all the way. That is getting them to mentor me. And as my career progressed, I got more mentors. Like Dr. Biade of Pet Care is my mentor. Dr. Gani Anauro is my mentor. Dr. Tunji Nasir is my mentor. These are people I go out to. Dr. Ajadi, Dr. Mobale, Professor of surgery, Professor Yarefe in UI is my mentor. If I see cases, there's no custodian of knowledge. If I see cases, I need references, I need inputs, I research stuff, I reach out to them, they guide me. They help me out. In as much as I also have mentees, but I also still have mentors. I have people I reach out to. So there's no man that should be an island. There's no lady that should sit down there. And that I'm getting married, I'm now beginning to have children is not a deterrent to us running our career to the fullest. Put in the extra effort. Just a little more would make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very, very much. We are glad you came on this session with us. Okay, I will give 2 minutes to Dr. Mariam Ma. Dr. Mariam Ma, if you're with us, the floor is yours to tell us, as young female veterinarians, what kept you going? And you were also speaking about mentorship. If you can conclude on that too. Okay. My issue.
Okay. Thank you. So very quickly, you know, I think everyone has talked about mentorship, so I would not flog it anymore. But I just wanted to say, Aisha has highlighted the difference between equality and equity. Equality is a destination. Equity is a process, and that's what we want to talk about, what we have been talking about. This process of giving women as much of a chance as their male counterparts. But that is not to say, because you have, we want to flag the issue of equity, that women should not work hard. If you have a football team and you buy the same size of shoe for everybody on that team, you are sure that you are putting up the team for failure, because the shoes will not fit. And even if they force their feet into the shoes and go to the field to play, they will not play well, because for some, it will be too big, and for others, it will be too small. So equity comes from the background of saying you want people to perform, but you want to fit them with the shoes that fit their legs for the performance that you need them to do. That's what equity is, and that's what we are talking about when we are talking about gender equity. For younger colleagues, I think what I would like to emphasize is that let us not use our gender to a disadvantage. First is that we must be resilient. We must put in the hard work as much as the men do, or even more, because culturally, we usually have to prove ourselves. So if you want to move, if you want to grow, first you must put in the hard work, you must be resilient. And resilience speaks to a lot of things. It speaks to the way that people are biased against us because we are of the female gender. Resilient in the face of people mounting pressures against you because you're a woman. Resilient in the biological duty that God has bestowed upon us, and that we are able to manage and balance both sides of what God has given us, being able to work our bodies as mothers and grandmothers, and being able to work in the workplace without making excuses. So first thing, hard work. Second thing, resilience. Third thing, being able to show up, like they say in show business. The show must go on. So you must show up, whatever the issues are. You must try to show up. We must make sure that we educate ourselves. I'm very happy to hear our younger colleagues talking about going back to school all the time, because the learning should not stop. The moment you stop learning, then you are differentiating, you are removing yourself from the field, because you will not be able to compete. You will not be able to contest. You will not be on that football field performing and functioning like others. So for the older colleagues, let us be deliberate about mentoring, about giving soft landings. But once you open the door, the rest of the work is for the colleague to make sure that she grows herself and grows in the profession. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. Lastly, I would like to also call our mommy, Dr. Omotayo, Ma, to also give us tips on what to do as female veterinarians in the face of gender bias. Yes, Ma. Thank you, Ma. The floor is yours now. Ma, you have to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ma, we can hear you. Yes, Ma.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize I hadn't unmuted. Yes,
it's okay, Ma.
I was talking about the passion. Passion is very important in our practice. From some of the things I see or have seen over the years, when you want to employ new, fresh graduates, and you just notice that passion is not there. It's as if they were forced into the profession. Both the male and female, they just come, you tell them to handle a dog, because I do hands-on interviews. You want to see the person's reaction to the patients. You see somebody coming in, a vet, who wants to work at your practice. And when a puppy comes towards their legs, they raise their legs on the chair and raise their hands up in fear. You pass through, the passion must be there. That will be something, a kind of catalyst that will help you, break through in the profession, whichever gender you are. If you don't love the animals, you don't really care for them, it will show. You won't want to go the extra mile, like our colleague, Dr. Tessie, is saying. And for the record, please, our president was saying, the other speaker, please, I'm Dr. Omotayo Aniaboso of Paws and Claws Animal Clinic, Lagos.
I'm sorry about that. I'm truly sorry.
I know I wasn't introduced. Dr. Daminago was not around.
Absolutely, to say yourself. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that passion must be there in everything we do. Like the president was saying, if you are sweeping, sweep very well. Let them know you in that sweeping area. If any sweeping job comes, they say, this number one is sweeping, they will pick you for it. So that passion, I had an experience like that when I traveled out and I was seeing practice somewhere. We as seeing practice, you're not permitted to treat. You're just there to observe. But I found myself treating. And how was that so? I noticed that once the clients come in with their pets, and I'm all over them. Hello, how are you? Doggy. Oh, sweet dog and all that. And the clients loved that. You both now. While those who were supposed to treat will just come. to look at the dog, take the parameters, choke the injection. If the dog is screaming, they don't care. But because I started all that, before too long, the client started saying, we want Tayo to handle our dogs. And I started giving the vaccinations. Because of the love, because of the passion for these animals. Most times when you put in the needle, they don't even realize when you put it in and put it out because you're distracting them with all the love, la, la, la. That passion must be there. Some of our doctors, graduates, cannot even hold a dog. They are scared. I've seen it so many times. I'm like, wow, did you not even do clinics? So what we're talking about, this mentorship must start from the grassroots, from the schools. The Bible says if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? We must go to that foundation. Some of these people have a mentality, a kind of, we must have it. It is our right mentality. They come out, they want everything to be given to them on a platter of gold. You have to work for every success that you want to have. So if we go to the schools, if programs or curricula are changed so that people who are in the field can visit these institutions from time to time, maybe during their vet weeks or their graduations or stuff like that, or it's even put in between their clinic year and their graduation, so that they will be fully orientated before coming out. They come out, some of them, it's a shock to them. They don't know what to expect and they don't know what to also, give back. So if we start from the school, as we're talking about mentorship, let's not wait for them to graduate. Let's go to them in their schools. I know some of our colleagues go to their former alumni to talk to them and all that. All the schools should incorporate that into their curriculum. Let us be going out to start them, talk to them about what is expected of them. The women folk, they have the AVMS. Why not have the Female Veterinary Students Association? So that from there on, we have a voice, just like we have the female vets now. Let's have the female student vets as well. So all these things will help to sensitize the female folk to know what they are expected of and what they should give to the society. Thank you very much for the privilege.
Thank you very much, Ma. It's been an insightful session with all of you. It's amazing. All of you are really, really amazing. At least now I have hope as a young veterinarian that no matter the gender bias against me, I can succeed because I have people that have succeeded. So in the nutshell, all our mommies are trying to tell us that it doesn't matter if there's gender bias. As a young veterinarian, you can distinguish yourself by knowing what you're supposed to do, being where you are supposed to be at the right time and at the right place. So that if they are looking for anybody that will do the job better than any other person, they will look for you. But before we go on, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Kunle Abiade on this session with us. You're welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us. Dr. Makule, Dr. Joseph Isebo, Dr. Charles Ibe, Dr. Ima Eleji from Italy, and Dr. Tunji Nasir. Thank you very much for coming on this session with us. Okay, you can still drop your questions if you have any questions so that our mommies can address it. This is a very rare opportunity to have them on this session with us. So you can ask as a female veterinarian, even as a male veterinarian, you can ask as much question as you want. Try to get from their experience because they are very, very experienced people and they're here to handle all your concerns, your questions. If you have anything to add, you can also add it. Okay. It's time for question and answers. Please drop your questions in the comment sections. Our mommies are here to attend to them. Okay. Okay. You can still keep bringing up your questions and answers, but before okay, since it seems there are no much questions to be asked, we will take our post-session quiz now. So please, let's try to answer the post quiz so that we'll know the knowledge we have acquired from our lovely mommies. Let's take our quiz. It's very simple, it's short. Okay. Thank you. I can see some people have started answering. Please, let's keep answering these questions so that we know that this session has impacted into your life as a female veterinarian. Please, let's answer it. The only way we can know what is wrong with the profession regarding women is when we speak up, when we speak about our challenges, so that at least since we have experienced veterinarians, female veterinarians, they can help us find a way to deal with all our issues. But if we keep these issues bottled up, it will be hard to find a solution to it. So please answer the quiz so we know. Okay. Okay. Please, let's keep answering the post-quiz questions. We'll be rounding up soon, so let's answer it as fast as we can. For those that have answered, thank you for answering. I'm looking at your answers. Thank you. Thank you for answering. Please, let's keep answering these questions. And we need as much people as we can get to answer these questions because we all come from different regions, different specialty. These questions will help us to understand your difficulty in your own specialty and where you're coming from, so that it will help the Veterinary Council of Nigeria come up at least with solutions to take care of all these bias against females in the profession. Thank you very much for answering. Yes. Okay. Okay. That is the end of our post quiz now. If there are other topics you want us to discuss on this session, on our tech class session, please kindly drop it on our comment section so that we can address that on our next tech class session. If you have a suggestion on what topic we should talk about, you can kindly drop it on our comment section and we'll attend to that on our next tech class session. And you can also follow us on all our social media platforms. You can follow us on YouTube at www.youtube.com@Farmalat. You can also follow us at LinkedIn at www.linkedin.com/company/farmalert. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/farmalert. Also on Instagram, you can also follow us, or just simply search Farm Alert and it will come up. You can follow us on all our social media platforms in order to get the latest information from us, and also to know when the next Tech Lab session will be coming up. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Our guest speakers, our mommies that spoke on this platform. Thank you very much. I wish you a very good day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. I'm Dr. Janet Miyaki. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.